and it's all through Christ. Your voice is soul of the people, shining light so you know where to look for the flow. News and travel, that's right. Health and wellness for life. Got those artists you like. Yeah. We are the voice of the people. Take Christ wherever we go. The light is on our people tonight. Whatever you like, we put it down. The mic is hot, no doubt. The light is on.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Lyfe Live, where we bring the Lyfe magazine to life. And it's good to be with you tonight. This is the first time in about a month now since we've been here. We had to cancel the last show at the last minute, unfortunately. But we are back and in full force tonight. As you see, Tina's not able to be with us tonight. We wish her well tonight in her endeavors, but we will go on with the show tonight. And as always, I always have my good friend here to bring us a positive media moment to start us out. And we'll bring on Buff Patterson to talk about whatever it is she got to talk about today.
Well, hey family, how y'all doing?
How you doing?
Well, Buff is great, but Buff, this person I have today with Life's Positive Media Moment is somebody close and dear to my heart. It's something I love to do, and we all love to do is eat. Today I'm bringing to you Lena Richard.
Right behind Thanksgiving, huh?
Oh my goodness. This lady, let me tell you why this is so synonymous with culture and progress. She's born in 1892 to a family. Her mother and her aunt, they were chefs, like they were cooks in a family. But this woman became a trailblazer. She was the first Black woman to have a cooking show before Julia Child, her own cooking show in 1940. She had a frozen food business that was fully prepackaged Creole food. They're shipped all throughout the United States. And in 1939, her and her daughter opened up a cooking school, and they focused on young Black men and women to help give them a career in the restaurant industry. Is that not wild? What do we know about this lady? She has her self-titled cookbook. It was called the New Orleans Cookbook. It was a New York Times bestseller.
Okay.
And this is like 1937.
Wow.
So before the Guy Fieri's and Julia Child and Paula Deen, we had Lena Richard. And I think we need to celebrate our fallen heroes that have created so much industry for us. Again, if you don't know your past, you don't know your future, and you don't know your worth.
Yeah. Is it possible to get that book today?
Well, you know what? You can go on Amazon, and I should have had it here. I was trying to order this book. They're Creole cooks. Come on now. Who can't make a better dressing than some Creole cooks? So you got to look at it. Her book is called New Orleans Cookbook by Lena Richard. Mm-hmm. You have to check her out. There are no old recipes in my life. I have probably a couple hundred cookbooks, and I'm looking forward to flipping through the pages of Miss Lena Richard's cookbook. And not just that, she had numerous restaurants also all throughout New Orleans that were extremely successful. She also cooked for political dignitaries. This woman was highly esteemed in New Orleans. She was the go-to chef when you wanted to get something done. Right. And she transformed so many Black men and women's lives by opening this cooking school. So again, local hero to New Orleans, but a worldwide hero with her cookbook.
All right. So maybe you say you ordered the book already?
Yes.
Okay. So next show we expect.
Next show, I'm gonna tell you what I cooked from this cookbook.
All right.
I mean, come on, we gotta. I mean, the thought that this woman was the first woman before Julia Child to have a cooking show, a 30-minute cooking show, right? And this is
in the
segregation,
1930s?
and she was on television. Come on, people.
1930s?
1940,
40.
she had her first cooking show.
Wow.
I think her cookbook was in or her cooking school was 1937. And just the progress of people of color knowing their true roots and their true identity of who they are and where we've come from. The sky's the limit. This lady didn't have any limits, born in 1892. She didn't believe in limits. The family she worked for actually sent her to cooking school, came back, and this lady was on fire. So don't let anything stop you from being the best person you are.
Right.
Blessings come in ways, in shapes and forms.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, Buff. We always have good information for us. It's good to have you here again.
I'm looking forward to this show. I'm staying on this show because
froze up.
I got to hear all the great people that we have on the show. It's so exciting.
All right. Well, hang around. Okay.
I will.
All right. Bye. Okay. So we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to come back with a fabulous author that I know is a good friend of mine. So he's going to be back to talk about his books and his media projects in a minute.
Introducing a new YouTube series, Dorms on Top of the World. Everywhere that I go, I gotta let the world know it's just me and my phone. Hey. Dorm fam, about to make you move, bro. Turn it up, got to let the world know. Everybody and my mama on the track, yo. Dylan doing, pass it to my twin, bro. Call me DJ, got him cracking up. Yeah, they can't catch me, I'm too far. What? Blown up like I knew we would. Lone try music, dorm fam, all good. Used to be the only girl, now it's me and Vicky. We gon' hold it down. Can you feel me? How we do every day of the week. Me and my family rolling deep.
Now this is what I mean when I rhyme to survive with these vlogs and these skits and these beats. How we grind. You can catch us online. Won't you like and subscribe? Welcome to our world. It's the Dorms on Top, right?
Everywhere that I go, I gotta let the world know it's just me and my phone. Everywhere that I go, I gotta let the world know it's just me and my phone.
Hey, I love that commercial. If you haven't had a chance to check out the Dorms on Top on YouTube, go over there and check them out. It's a good show, a good family. I happen to know the family, so they're a good family. And just like they are in that show, they are the same in person. Very good people. So next we get to talk to a good friend of mine. He used to write for the Lyfe magazine at one point in time, but he's gone on and he's doing some great things. I think he has about 10 books out, I think he said. And he also has his own media show, the Trailblazer Radio. So he's a host also on his show. So he's a great man. He's very in-depth, has a lot of good things to say. So we're going to bring on Mr. Fred Beaty. If we hit the button right.
Hola.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I was just struggling trying to hit that button,
I know, right? That button is always miss it.
Try to do two things at one time,
I feel you, brother.
So tell us how you doing tonight. Give us a little bit of background about who Frederick is.
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, man. So a little bit of background about who I am. So first and foremost, I am the son of God. First, let's get that out. Let's put that out there right now. Second thing is, second thing, want to put this out here too. I'm a Navy veteran, so served 3 years from 1990 to 1993. And the third thing I want everybody to kind of know, well, I'm an author. I'm a owner of my own business, which is Trailblazer Radio. I'm an advocate for mental health, spiritual, physical, and emotional health in men. But I'm also an advocate for domestic violence as well. I am also an author. I've with 10 books to my credit, 5 of those as a co-author, the other 5 that I actually have written.
All right. So you co-author. You said you co-authored 5 and 5 that you've written.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, so I think we kind of connected over that domestic violence advocate because that was my third book was that on the domestic violence awareness platform. So I think we
Yes,
kind of
sir.
connected at that point in time. Then we got involved with the magazine together. We had
Yes,
some
sir.
there too. So why
Oh
don't
yeah.
you tell us about some of your books and what they're about?
Oh man. So let's see. Um, so the very first book I put out was it's called Broken Chains, and that speaks toward domestic violence. It's 4 interconnected stories, 4 different main characters. They all have a story to tell from a domestic violence standpoint. It's not about just the incident, but also how these these men and women recovered from this instance, from this incident. The story is written from the perspective of two females and 2 males, um, an older male, a younger male, and an older female and a younger female. I want to try to speak from it from both aspects of it, because of what people don't know who are not advocates for domestic violence happens to men just as it happens to women. It may not be something that's front and center, but it does happen.
Right.
The second book I wrote is a part 2 of that, but now it comes from a emotional and mental health perspective. Now we're dealing with issues of loss. We're dealing with issues of dealing with depression and some mental instability. Also, just navigates how we talk about how people how these characters navigate through these things. Loss is something that I'm familiar with, but also depression and things of those are something that I'm familiar with because a lot of what I've written is based on my own mental health journey. So there's loss, there's been depression, there's been other things that have happened with that. So I write from that perspective. Now, the last 3 books that I've written have all been books of poetry.
Okay.
And the reason for me taking a shift from that is that I wasn't tired or didn't want to not write any more chapter books or books like that. What I wanted to do was kind of shift my focus a bit and focus on written verse. I wrote a little bit as a kid, and I also wrote a little bit as a young adult. So it was kind of an experiment to see if I could still write poetry. So the first poetry book was called what was that called? Dang it! It's called. So I have 3 poetry books. So one is called. So the last one I wrote is called Avenues, the Traveling Soul. The second one is How I See It, the Perspective Soul, and the first one is called Tapestry, the Interwoven Soul. So as you can see, there's a theme with that.
Right.
Each one kind of speaks to certain aspects of my life, but also aspects of other people's lives as well. Tapestry is more about the inner me, what I'm trying to do as far as my growth process, things of that nature. How I see it, the perspective soul is more or less now the more outward. Now the inward becomes outward.
Right.
Now my inner growth becomes an outward growth.
Right.
And the last one is, avenues of traveling. So that now I'm talking more about how I'm journeying, how I'm making these journeys through my growth processes, and how I'm still trying to process certain things, how I still process loss, grief, and things of that nature. How I travel down the road route. How we still deal with interpersonal relationships with each other. So those are the 5 books that I've written. Then the other 5 are pretty much collaborations with other authors. The one that I'm proud of all of those accomplishments, but the one I'm most proud of is the one I did with a young lady by the name of Angela Thomas Smith. And this was about everyone was talking about their journey of, I don't want to say that word, but everybody talked about their journey of, removing themselves from this plane of existence.
Okay.
And every story that I contributed by is talking about my journey, my journey through that, my process through that. So that's the one I'm the most. That's the one I'm really proud of because I think that will allow me. I was never open about that journey, and I always felt ashamed about that journey. But then talking about it made me feel a lot more comfortable speaking to it, and then it kind of snowballed from there.
Right. Well, it was something we was talking about before the show in the green room. We was talking about the person behind it in this area, the person behind the books. So people get books, my books, your books, other authors' books, and they read the books, but who is the person behind that book that wrote that book? So we was talking about that. So what would you like people to know about you? Who are you behind the author behind the book?
So that is a loaded question, my brother. But I'm gonna answer that as best as I can. The person behind the books that I've written has always been a vulnerable individual. I've always been open about talking about my own personal experiences. There was a point in my life where I didn't want to talk about those experiences, but now these books are out. People have asked me about about my personal experiences with whether it's domestic violence or whether it's through my mental health journey. So I'm a very vulnerable person. I try to share as much as I can with other people, not only just my life experiences, but I also want to try to share what I've learned through those life experiences and try to see if I could pass that on, not only to the next person, but also to the next generation. Because again, there's a generation coming up behind us, and then there's going to be a generation coming up behind. We have a generation that's behind us, our kids,
right?
And then their kids are going to be behind them. So I want to be able to leave those positive things for them. Something that they can take and they can run with, and they can apply to their life and they can also see the fruits of that growth multiply. And now it's going to be a hard process, yes, but if you stick with it and you stay to the path, and most importantly, you keep God at the center of everything, you can't go wrong.
Amen. It's one thing that I've learned, since I've started writing, is a lot of yourself comes out in those books. So I had people come back to me and say, "Wow, I've learned a lot about you since I started reading books." And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, there are bits and pieces in there that's really about me. I don't know how they pick those bits and pieces out, but I think all authors are a little vulnerable because we do you write about what you know. So, and what you know is your life and what you so that's what makes you vulnerable to people. So, you have to have some tough skin sometimes to put that stuff out there.
Yeah, the words of our life bleed on the page.
That's true. That's true. That back to the domestic violence portion that you were talking about. One of the things that I got when I started, getting out there with the domestic violence thing was people were amazed that a man was actually talking about domestic violence awareness. So that struck me as like one is, there's not enough of us talking about it. And two, we need to be out there talking about it. We need to be out there talking about it too, because you have sisters, aunts, mothers, of course, grandmothers, females in your life that you don't want affected by this. So
right.
You probably had the same situation. So how did that make you feel when people were shocked that as a man you were out there being an advocate for domestic violence awareness?
It caught me off guard a bit because I wasn't expecting any type of, I wasn't expecting, and to be honest with you, I wasn't really expecting any type of response from the book that I wrote, the first one. For me, it was just me wanting to put my personal experiences out there, but also put it in a form to where it's fictional. And I was taken aback by the responses, and I kind of had to kind of step back and look at the responses and then kind of see where I was in all that. And it's like what the and I had to ask myself the question, what the world just happened?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if this was your experience. I mean, I've been to a couple of conferences, right?
Right.
Let's talk about domestic violence, mostly victory over violence, with a great lady by the name of Lori Brinson, who's stationed out, her organization is based out of Saratoga, based out of Florida. And I've been to a couple of her conferences, and like, man, like I see all these women here, but no dudes.
Right.
Very few dudes, very few cats around. And I'm like, where's all the guys at? You know, there may be one or two, but they're there just for like media coverage or something like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was like, I really couldn't do anything. I mean, for me, I was surprised about it, but then at the same time, to look at it from the aspect of me being the only person there, me being the male only, I won't say the only male, but maybe one or two males that are there, it was disappointing also, because I mean, why aren't more guys speaking about this? Why aren't more men speaking and talking about their stories? And you know this as well as I do, Gerald. I mean, most of the time, men don't talk about those stories because there's stigma involved with that. There's shame involved with that, and they don't want to talk about those stories because they don't want to make it seem like it diminishes them as a man,
Right.
or as an individual.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I understand that, but at the same time, I mean, your story is your story.
Right. Yeah, I had a man reach out to me, you know, in Facebook Messenger, you know, during the standing firm era. You know, that it turned out to be a long exchange of messages, because he was telling the whole story, and you know, he started out by saying, you know, men can be affected by this too, and I said, yeah, I know.
Yes.
I realized that, and I realized that a lot of it's underreported for men because men don't want to report it. You know, so he went on to his whole spiel about what happened to him. We had a pretty good conversation, though. You know, it was good to, you know, exchange messages with him back and forth. You know, and so you know, I like to think that the fact that he saw me doing this was, you know, helped him in some kind of way. But the thing that hit me the most was when I went to one of the shelters and spoke to women at the shelters. That really hit me. I was like, if more men got to experience something like that, I think we'd have more men on that trail to make people aware of this. You know, you see that has a profound effect on you, and that's, for me, that's been like 9 years, and I'm still affected by what I saw in that shelter. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think when you walk away from that situation, from that experience, you become a lot more aware of how it affects not just you, but other people.
Right. Yeah. So in your writing journey, you know, you started out as, and I don't know if you were different than me, but you started out writing. For me, I started out like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be writing. I'm gonna write this book. You know, I'm all excited. You know, I'm gonna write this book. Didn't know anything about the business, you know, the world or anything. Just I wanted to write this book. Fast forward to, you know, I'm working on my 29th and 30th books now. I know a lot about the industry and everything.
Oh yeah.
There's been a drastic difference between that first book and, you know, these that I'm writing now. How would you describe your journey?
From the first book, me being a greenhorn, not knowing anything, having very little knowledge as to how all this worked out or supposed to go, to now, you know, not like from the first book, now 9 books later, and 9 books later, and in.
Right.
And then also helping my fiance publish her book of poetry. You know, it's like night and day. There's a stark difference with how I see things and how I see things now.
Right.
My approach to writing is still the same. That's something I haven't changed up. I still write stuff in a notebook and then transcribe it to a computer. So that process still remains the same. But I think one of the things that has changed for me is my level of introspection now. When it comes to certain things, especially when it came to the poetry books, I had to look inward in me first before I could put anything on the page.
Okay.
So the first 2 books were just boom, this is on my mind, this is what I feel, let me write this, and then do some editing and things of that nature. The process between book 2, my second book, and then my third book was about a couple of years, because I didn't know if I wanted to write a book of poetry, because I was on the fence about that. But for me, the change is more introspective. I look more into myself when I write now, and I allow myself to get lost in my writing, so to speak.
Okay.
Some people think that getting lost in their writing is kind of a bad thing, because then everything kind of just you get off track and off balance. For me, that's not the case.
Right.
I can write something that's completely off script, but take bits and pieces from it, and I can hammer and nail that together, and it still makes something concise and concise.
Okay. So where can people find your books?
Oh man, well, for right now they're on Amazon. All the books that I've written and all the co-author books, all those are on Amazon currently. I am working to try to get those off of Amazon because I'm talking with some people about getting my own publishing arm. So that's something I'm working towards. But as of right now, those books are on Amazon. So you can find Broken Chains on Amazon. You can find The Road Less Traveled, and all 3 of my poetry books are on Amazon, as well as all the books that I've co-authored.
Okay. Well, you need to talk to me about that publishing thing. We have Lyfe Publishing, so we have our own publishing company as well. So
most definitely.
Yeah, we publish our authors, and we publish, of course, the magazine, of course. So I can talk to you about the process. But yeah, so I know you have a radio show, Trailblazer Radio Show. Yes, so that was a good conversation, some good words. I appreciate you coming on the show and being on the show tonight. Those of you who don't know, like I just said, Fred is the owner of Trailblazer Radio. It's a good talk show. I've been on there a couple times now. So
yeah.
He's coming on here tonight to be on my show. So
returning the favor, paying it forward.
There you go. So make sure you try and catch Fred's radio show, Trailblazer Radio, has written down there underneath his name there. So jot it down.
Yes, sir.
Check his show out. It's a good show. You won't regret it. So
shameless plug though. So if you guys are interested, tune in tonight. The show I have is called The Check-In. We're talking about healthy manhood. This is an overview, but this is going to lead into much more deeper conversation. So if you guys are willing and able, come check us out. We're on YouTube. Show is at 7:30. So make sure you come check us out, and we would appreciate it if you appreciate you.
Yeah,
Gerald, thank you so much for having me on, man.
You're welcome.
Man, thank you so much, brother. We most definitely gonna continue to keep in touch.
All right. Have a good evening.
Yes, sir. You do the same. Thank you.
Have a great show.
All right, man.
All right. So make sure you check out Trailblazer Radio and then listen to Fred. That's going to be a good show tonight. Talking about men and their mental health. So we got another commercial. And then after that commercial, we're going to talk to Dr. Maxine Henry, the business CEO. I understand she has a great company that started out in Detroit, and now she's in Los Angeles, California. So we'll be right back in a minute. talking about books, that was a commercial for my next book, which will be coming out in July of next year. It's called Not So Heroes for the Science Fiction Lovers, lovers that are out there. So next we have on the show with us is we're going to talk to Miss Maxine Henry. Now, she's the owner of Dora Max International Group, which I believe started out in Detroit. I hope I got that right. But she is a very in-depth person, and we are excited to talk to her. So let's bring this Henry to the stage, Dr. Henry, excuse me, to the stage.
Hi there.
Hey, good evening. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. I know you're nice and warm out there in California, so.
Yeah, it's a little warm, but it's okay.
It's nice and cold here.
I'm down from the 100-degree temperatures of about a month ago.
Yeah, it's nice and cold here. 40 degrees is a good day here right now. So.
Yeah. I'm from Detroit. I know about that weather.
Yeah, that's right. Detroit. We talked about that before the show. So yeah, that's a city that I've actually never been to. So,
oh wow!
One of these summer days, I have to go there. We have to go there in the wintertime.
No, I don't recommend this time of the year for that visit.
I don't want to go anywhere.
August is probably a good time.
I don't want to go anywhere that's colder than where I am right now. So we want to thank Buff Patterson for making this connection to bring you on the show. You know,
yeah, definitely.
Buff recommended you. You know, when Buff speaks, people listen. So I listened and I brought you on the show. So
great.
Excited to learn about your company, and I know that the people out there are excited. So why don't you give us an overview of what Dora Max International Group is?
Well, Dora Max International Group is a luxury brand company. We've been in business for a little over 20 years, actually. I actually started out designing clothes and started in Detroit designing clothes and moved out to California to really go to school, go to Otis Parsons and learn more about fashion design. And I morphed that into a skincare business about 15 years ago. And right now we don't do fashion, but we do have a real nice, luxurious, natural skincare line. And we have also home fragrances. And we have some other products that are coming up for next year that we're going to be launching as well. Okay. One of the things about our products is when I initially started developing the skincare products, one of my friends kept saying to me, she's like, you know, you're not getting any older. What are you putting on your face? And I started laughing. At the time I was 50. And I told her, I said, well, you know, I'm just using the little ingredients that my mom kind of told me how to make and to kind of keep my skin moist and clear. And she said, well, can you make me some? And I said, sure. So I did. I brought it to her and gave it to her. She distributed amongst her family members. Okay. And next thing I know, people were calling me and saying, hey, can you give me some of that cream you put on your face? And that's how we actually started our skincare line, which is Alorum Skincare.
Okay. And that's ELORUM, right?
Yes, ELORUM. It is a combination of letters from my mother's name and mine.
Okay. Do you have a website?
We do. It's doramax.com. That's DORMAX.com, or Elorum. That's ELORUM.com.
Okay. I dropped that in there because I know skincare is something that a lot of people, you know, definitely want to have something that's going to make their skin look better. So I dropped that into the chat so people can, you know, pick that up and visit your website. So
thank you.
Tell us more about your endeavors. I mean, you said you started as a fashion designer. So
as a fashion designer back in the 80s. So I'm dating myself, but I worked with a number of fashion houses. Most of them are gone now. When I first moved here in California from Detroit, the fashion industry was bustling. There was fashion houses, manufacturing companies, cutting and sewing, just everywhere in the downtown area. And that has since changed. I'm getting a little feedback. I'm not sure why. That has since changed, and a lot of those companies have gone, dissolved. A lot of manufacturing has moved over in places like Malaysia, Korea, China. But while I was in the industry for about 12 years, I got a chance to work with some really good designers and some good design houses. Notably, I worked with Nancy Heller. She did a lot of real fancy high-end clothing in Europe. I also worked for an Olivia Newton-John's Koala Blue, and also did some work with Nolan Miller, who did Dynasty. Also, another famous designer, which was Carole Little, and she used to supply a lot of television personalities with clothes. So that was kind of my entry and my years in fashion. I still have a passion for fashion design, and you know, I keep saying one day I'm going to pick up my pen and paper and design another line of clothes or two. So you never know.
But what made you? I know you say there was a lot of fashion houses out there in Detroit at the time, but what actually made you say fashion is something I want to do?
Well, it's interesting because when I lived in Detroit, I was actually going to school to be a lawyer. And I was working for AAA in the day and going to law school at night. And I happened to have a gentleman come in to settle his claim for AAA. And I gave him a big check for like $25,000. And he said, I said, well, what are you going to do with that money? He's like, well, I'm going to go to Hong Kong and buy fabric. And I was like, you're going to buy fabric? And my eyes got like this big, and I was so excited. So we started talking about silks and woolens and linens and how you can treat the fabric and things you can do. And he's like, you know a lot. I told him, I said, well, I'm kind of like a, homegrown fashion designer. He's like, well, do you have sketches? I said, sure do. He said, can you bring them to my store? I said, well, you have a store? He said, yes. So he had a store in Southfield, Michigan. I actually took my sketches to him, and he said, I really want you to work with me. So I did. I started working with him. He had a line of clothes that was real conservative, and a lot of his customers at the time catered to a lot of the football players, the Pistons, the hockey team, a lot of the politicians there in Detroit. So he had good business, but his women's clothes was just really kind of drab looking. So I said, let me I said, can I take one of these dresses and can I reconfigure them? And he's like, you gonna take them apart? He's like, these are silk dresses. I had them done. I said, yeah. I said, just let me work with them. So I actually took like a dozen of his dresses, and I took them, and for a week, I worked on reconfiguring the patterns and the styling of the dress. And I brought them back to his store. And I said, just put them on the rack and see if anybody will buy them. And I left that afternoon. He called me and told me, I sold all those dresses. I need you to do this again. And I'm like, right. Yeah. So I said, well, how about I work for you? And so I did. And we worked together for about almost 10 years. And I would design his women's clothes. He took me to Malaysia and Hong Kong and Singapore. And I got to learn a lot about fashion, but I didn't know all of the things that I felt I needed to know. So I fast forward. I said, I really want to learn how to cut patterns and how to grade and how to get the perfect fit, because I like couture clothes. So I started off on a journey to find a school that I could go to in Detroit. Not so many fashion schools. Well, actually only one. And it was really a little lady who was from Germany who would teach people how to sew. I took her class, and I didn't feel I learned anything other than how to stitch together two pieces of fabric. My mother was a adamant sewer and a beautiful person who had just a wealth of creativity. So she said, you may want to look at trying to find a fashion design school. And she says, if it's not here in Detroit, it's not here in Detroit. So I wind up applying to Otis Parsons and FITM. I got accepted to both. Came here with the intent of going to Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandise here in California. Got here and the tuition was just astronomical. They didn't have night classes. I'm a grown woman. I'm like, I got to take care of myself. So I had to work. Right. So I got the California Apparel News and picked it up and found a job like within a couple of days and started working for Carole Little. And I went to her and her husband, Leonard Rubino. And I said, I want to learn everything about the fashion industry humanly possible. She said, you came to the right place. She says, when you leave here, you're going to be able to run your own manufacturing company. And she was right. And she had taught me everything. She taught me how to cost fabric, how to cost garments, how to negotiate contracts with sewing companies and cutting companies. And it was just a wonderful experience. And she died a few years ago, and her husband sent me one of the most wonderful letters about how he remembers my eagerness and my enthusiasm and how I helped the company. So I had just a wonderful experience in the fashion industry, but it changed.
Right.
The company started offshoring stuff, and there was just a lot going on. So,
well, so you got a couple of comments about your skincare products here. So
yeah,
I guess the people want to hear about that too.
Yeah. So Alorum is a really great product line, and I'm not saying that just because I own the product, but I use my products. We are natural based. Most of the ingredients in our product are sourced from all over the world, not just here, but we source products from Italy, from France. They tend to have the better product ingredients for your products, and I wanted to stay and focus on trying to develop a line of products that, well, one, you can use every day as your daily routine, and then products that will help nourish and feed your skin. Your skin is an organ, and it needs feeding and care and love and protection, just like anything else. And when I started the skincare line, that was one of the things I wanted to kind of stay true to. Okay. So I developed a number of products, trial and error, just, started in my house, scaling up until I got to a point where I couldn't do that anymore. So now we actually have our lab do all of our products, but the simplicity, should I say, and the care, the ingredients still goes into the formulations. And we have everything from cleansers to anti-aging serums, eye cream, moisturizers. We are working on
yourself.
Pardon?
And you came up with all this yourself?
Yeah, I have a chemist, and we work together hand in hand. When I'm sure she's probably asleep now, but when I call her, she gets up and she says, okay, what do you want to do now? But I have taxed her a little bit because I like to, like I said, I like to try to keep the natural, highest quality ingredients in my products. And if you look at a lot of the products that are on the market now, they are riddled with chemicals. And a lot of these chemicals are not good for our bodies. So okay. I always put her to the test when we collaborate on developing a new product.
Okay. And then do you have products that are for men as well?
So we had a product line for men, and we actually stopped it, but we're actually launching our product line for men next year. Okay. We had facial cleansers. We also had like a shave balm and a moisturizing oil. And we're going to bring those back. My challenge right now is just trying to find the right packaging for those products. But I think I've nailed down the products that I need, the packaging for the products that I need to launch. So hopefully February-ish, they should be on our site.
Okay. I'll be looking for that.
Yeah.
Because let's see. Buff Patterson asked about home scents.
So our Melodara line is our home fragrance line, and again, natural-based candles and scented room sprays and diffusers. I have some favorites on our site. I believe there's Evening Rain, which is one of my favorite fragrances. We had some new ones we launched. So Sagara is one of them. And I try to keep those fragrances as sexy as possible, as light as possible. My husband actually created one called Henrik, which is more on the masculine side, but still sexy, musky, has a real nice scent to it. And we try to collaborate on some of the fragrances, the two of us, to come up with, the things that we both like,
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have like a store in California, or is this
No store, just online.
Online? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, besides the men product line coming out, you said in February or March, is there anything else that's new coming out?
Yeah, we have a good sunscreen that's coming. I have actually reformulated my cleanser, which is, I'm sure Buff, who has used it a lot. We had like one of the most luxurious facial cleansers. So we've reformatted it, and we are coming out with a couple of new anti-aging serums. And I believe, hopefully, probably late January, early February with the men's line, we're also going to have another eye cream. That's one of the key things that we build our business on, our eye cream and our facial cleanser and our facial scrub. Our exfoliating scrub was very gentle, had like a strawberry scent to it, and people just loved it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And you've been around, the skincare line has been around since 2008, about 16 years, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, 16 years that she's been in business, y'all, doing the skincare. So I know you can go and visit her on her website. Dora, you said doramax.com.
Doramax.com or alarmskincare.com.
Or
you can Google us, ELORUM.com, and I'm sure we'll come up.
Okay, so I put the Dora Max one in there. The other one is ELORUM.
Yes, ELORUM.
Okay. Oh, so it takes you to the same place. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I hope we get hundreds of hits from this show, so you can go on out there and then people can test your products. Right? You got a couple of people out here that are testifying to the goodness of your products. So one of them I know, so I'm sure Buff says it's good. It's good. So thank you for coming by here tonight. We appreciate you stopping through.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. You have a good evening, okay?
You too. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we have one guest left, and this one I have been waiting to talk to for a while now. We had a couple of little disconnects on there, and last time, we had to cancel the show, so we didn't get to talk to him then. So we are talking to him tonight, and I didn't get the correct pronunciation of his last name, so I hope I don't butcher it. But we have, for those of you who are old school like me, Take Six from back in the day. They were the number one in the number of Grammys nominations and wins. So we get the honor of having one of the members of Take Six in the group is Alvin Chea. Hope I said his name right. Good evening, sir. Thank you. I got it right. I got it right then.
That's right. Thumbs up.
Awesome. Good evening, and how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine, good brother. Well, we zigged and zagged, but we made it happen. We're here together.
Zigged and zagged, but we are here in the house.
That's right. That's right.
Dennis is still on. I hope she's still watching. So, Glennis, for those of you who don't know, Glennis Albright made the connection. So we appreciate you, Glennis.
Yes, fairy godmother. She's amazing.
Great waffles too, by the way.
Yes, Lord.
So, Alvin, tell us about how you got started in the music world.
I came up playing classical music from second grade all the way up, and by the time I went away to my boarding school my senior year, I was excited to get away from Mama making me practice all the time, and I just took a break from piano and just started singing. I tried to sing years before, like in the 7th grade, but my voice dropped. You hear what it is in gospel; they don't have bass parts, so I was like, So discovered a cappella, quartet, and quintet music, and started singing bass my senior year. Turns out I could carry a tune, and I ended up going to the school where they had this amazing sextet. So it seemed like, Frankenstein's monster to me. 6 parts, what do you do with that? Oh my goodness. And loved it, loved these big band harmonies and all of that, and started singing bass with them, and never looked back. I finished my degree at our school, Oakwood University, there in Huntsville, Alabama. But my real education started after I hit the road with these guys.
Yeah. Okay. So now you go. That kind of opens the door. So
yeah.
What kind of education did you get from being on the road with them?
Oh, I've just so much stuff. First of all, their tradition. I came up in classical music, and then jumped over to this gospel / jazz / a cappella, where there was no really a roadmap. You just kind of had to make your way. There was no really basses on the radio, nobody to mimic or learn from. I just had to listen to actual basses and try to imitate their sound.
Right.
And learn little things like don't oversing, don't sing too much, learn to blend. Don't fill in, listen, allow space to be the music, and a lot of things. Hey, Glennis. So a lot of things I learned. I started with the guys that's 17 years old, 16, 17 years old. I'm 57 now, so most of my life I've been with them. We've taught each other and learned from each other a lot.
Right. Okay. So I know that you guys are number one in the number of Grammy nominations. How does that feel?
It's very cool. We've got, I probably have at least 24 nominations now, 10 wins. It's very cool. It keeps you, it makes you feel like you've done something with your life. But in show business, it's funny. You never really get to sit on your laurels and say all is good. You're always pushing. Right. What I would love to get is the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I've seen some people that we came in with, and I'm like, man, when we gonna get the call? So you can aspire and work on different things, but there's always something to challenge you with. But you never hit that finish line. You never kick back with iced tea. You're always pushing ahead.
Right. I guess that's something that people don't really understand. We see, your new CD or EP comes out, and you're like, and it's just like you just keep doing this thing. We don't understand how much work goes.
Always. Yeah, you're always recording, or you're touring, or you're writing, or you're promoting it. It's one of those stages for something, or you're doing something else to try to continue to breathe life into your career.
Right.
It's a chase that it's been a wonderful run. We've been doing it. I've been doing it for 39 years with the guys, so it's been great.
Wow, that's awesome. That is truly awesome. And you guys have put out some great music too. But
Thank
when
you.
you talk about the acapella, you mentioned that earlier. What are some unique challenges and rewards of performing acapella music at the highest level?
Acapella is great. There's nothing to hide behind. It's a very intimate form of music. You got to be on the same page with your guys. And just knowing, here's one. Quincy, we just lost Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones called us the baddest vocal cats on the planet. So, I mean, you can't be, that's a heck of a compliment. So it's been a very, very cool run. And because we've been doing it so long, we're kind of looked at as the deans of that genre, and people who've come in behind us are killing the game. Jacob Collier, he credits us as helping him get his start, and somebody who inspired him. A lot of people, a lot of connections, but people that you don't even realize till you meet them later. You're like, oh man, I know you got. Oh man, yeah, I love you. So you just receive it, take it. But it's important for you to realize that it's not personal. It took me years to realize it's not personal. When people go off about how much you bless them and all of that, it's not personal. It's what the music and what God has done through your music for them. Right. And if they don't trip off your music, if you're kind of last week's news and they're excited about something new, it's not personal. It's just that this thing is now what's intriguing them. It's the new flashy, blingy thing, and that's it's easy to say, but it's hard to actually take that in. You're feeling like they're applauding for you. They're not applauding for you. They're applauding for the emotions that they have been able to channel through you.
Wow. Yeah. So Rhonda says she loves Take 6.
Well, love you, Rhonda Pratcher Holland.
Yeah, Rhonda. I know Rhonda a while. She loves music for one. So I'm sure she really loves your music too. So what is your biggest musical influence and how have they shaped your singing style?
So many. Quincy Jones, Earth, Wind and Fire, the Winans, Al Jarreau, George Benson. I love the Yellow Jackets from in the jazz world. I was a huge fan of the classical cat. We lost him a couple years back, Andre Watts. Just a lot of different forms of music, and whatever you take in, especially the good stuff, it comes back out. So listen to good stuff. That's for the kids listening. Put the good stuff in because it will air again. It'll come back through you.
Okay. So when you get a chance to talk to somebody who's won as many Grammys as you have won and been nominated so many times, it begs the question to me is, what do you listen to at home when you're relaxing?
Oh, you know what? I really don't listen to that much music. I've got so many things I'm doing, so many, so many spoons in the pot, I guess, that I really don't have that shit. In fact, my kids are always laughing at me that they'll play something I have no idea what I'm listening to. But I do enjoy the genre of neo soul. I love that. Just anybody doing anything with neo soul, Jill Scott and Erykah Badu and Music Soul Child and Dwele and anybody in that area, I'm all for it. I love that. And it's harmonic, it's vibey, kind of like what we do vocally. Like I said, I'm a fan of the Yellow Jackets and any of those people that I listed before. But I don't just sit and just devote music. Music is my life. So it's like, it's not something that I casually do. It's something I intentionally do.
Right. Okay. So how do you balance your, I know you being in the group Take 6 for 39 years, and I mean that's a lot of road work, a lot of studio work, a lot of singing, a lot of performances,
a lot of missed holidays together, all of that stuff.
How do you balance your music, your professional, and your music with your family?
I make sure that I'm part of the first van club. After a gig, first van. I'm not fooling around. I'm not waiting around. I'm not hanging out. I'm back at the hotel so I can call my family, check in with them, what's going on with the homework. Any good mail come in? That's my wife and I's thing. Any good mail come in? And I'm on to the next city. You can get caught up really easily on the road. The road gives you anonymity. It gives you opportunity. It gives you it gives you an opportunity to air your demons if that's stuff you're struggling with. So I'm just human. So I make sure I don't put myself in situations that that will just damage my future. So that's what I do. I'm part of the first van club so that I can allow this Take 6 stuff to be fresh so that I can, I'm not hanging out, waiting around, hanging in the shadows and all that kind of stuff. I get back home so I can do what I need to do.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. That's I've never heard it put that way, but I think that's really good. So Glenn says, "All right, now, yes, looking for those coins to come through the mail."
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's good people. So let's see. The how has Take Six impact on the music industry, particularly a cappella music, shaped the genre?
I think it's done. I think that Take Six's influence on vocal harmonies, not even just a cappella, vocal harmonies, has definitely, you're seeing waves of that. You see a lot more intricate vocal harmonic group, anywhere from R&B to jazz groups to neo soul to even pop. You're hearing a lot more tight harmonic stuff. You didn't hear that stuff before. Groups like Boyz II Men, of course, and just a lot. I think that the integrity and the sophistication of vocal harmonies has come a long way, and I think that's largely in part due to Take Six's influence. Our vocal arranger, Mark Kibble, has had a huge influence on that scene. And though people don't always know where it came from, I definitely take pride in seeing that. That people don't just mail in harmonies anymore. They bring it back. They're riffing and rolling, and the
Right.
SUV effect and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's again, we don't sit up and trip off ourselves. You just
Right.
keep working. This thing it's like an assembly line. There's always something coming. There's always a new project. And every once in a while you turn around and you're like, oh man, I guess it was a very good year. We did this and I was able to do that. And you just keep pushing and don't even worry about it.
Right. Yeah. I know. One thing is as a musician or a singer, when you listen to music differently than the normal person who's not
Right.
a singer. So when you hear something, are you like subconsciously comparing them to you yourself, or just I like what they did there? Then of course
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I compare it. I don't compare it to us. I don't put that kind of a trip on them, nor do I put that on me when I listen to my vocal heroes or whoever.
Mhm.
I put it in comparison to excellence. Did they do their best job? Did we do our best job?
Right.
When you put anything on wax, as they call it, you're going to hear it, or an audience will hear that performance for the rest of your life, for all time.
Right.
You're always going to be flat on that B flat. You're always going to be a little sharp on that D, whatever, if you did not take your time with it before you released it to the world.
Mhm.
So do your best, and because that thing is always going to represent you.
Right.
I have a lot of opportunities in Hollywood now because of things that I'm able to do with Take Six, or things that I have done with Take Six. And I just say how you do anything is how you do everything.
Right.
I get opportunities to do stuff. There's no producer in here with me. I'm on my best humor to do my best. Whether or not I get to work again determines how I worked last time.
Right. Glenn got a comment there.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the secret to the sauce for our group to be together all these years, is our personal devotion, our group worship, and bearing our souls to each other and asking for prayer. There's something funny that happens with our group. We're all men, we're all family men. Some of us have been married more than once now, and some of us are now grandparents and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And you have all kind of stuff that you're dealing with, funny and sad, and just life comes at you, and you're with each other, like I said, 40 something years. And the guys being guys can tease you about anything, anything. But the second we say in worship or in our devotional, hey guys, pray for me in this area, from that point, it is a matter of spirituality. We don't even go there.
Right.
I don't care what it is. Once it enters that realm, and everybody understands that that's something that's serious between you, God, and the group in prayer, or your family,
Mhm.
we leave it alone. But that truly is the secret. We'd never go on stage in all these years without praying, without giving each other encouragement, without bearing our souls to each other and challenging each other to be our best selves as we go out on the stage.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I actually didn't know that fact, so I'm glad Glenn brought that out.
Yeah.
So yeah. So where do you see the future of acapella music going?
I think just higher and higher and higher. You got guys like Jacob Collier who are doing 50, 60 part harmony stuff. And, I'd see young groups, acapella groups coming up on TikTok and Instagram all the time. They're putting this and putting that together, and just really incredible. Every time I turn around, there's somebody doing something innovative. So I just think with technology and the floor of our performances being moved up to excellent or perfection, just the sky's the limit, because the human imagination just never runs out.
Right. Okay. Do you have any new projects coming out?
Absolutely. Thought you'd never ask. So we're working on Rhapsody. It's our new a cappella jazz project from Take Six. We got about 8 or 9 songs done. We just recorded last night with Christopher Bodie, who's going to be on one of the tracks. We're reaching out to Samara Joy to be on one of our tracks. We're thinking about doing something with Jacob Collier on one of the tracks. So it's going to be really, really incredible. It was a slow burn. It kind of started a little slower because we had outside arrangers for the very first time, and it was just a new thing. Now we're finding its strength and its stride, and it's going to be incredible.
Okay. And when can we expect to hear that?
That should be out spring 2025.
Okay.
We're close. Yeah, we're very close.
6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you guys have tons of music. Now, do you have a favorite song by Take Six?
Oh man, that always changes. Probably right now, just because you said that, it would probably be "I'm on My Way to Canaan Land." I'm not sure what project that is on, but it was a Cedric Den arrangement, and we go through English and we go through Portuguese, and we do a thing in Spanish, and the vamp just kind of keeps going, and it's very, very, very vibey, very cool, very swarmy kind of arrangement.
Now, was that difficult to do with the different languages? Or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we made sure we brought in, like, we called over to Vanderbilt, send us the dean of your Portuguese department, and they came over and worked us. Okay, now send us over the dean of your Spanish department, and they worked with us, because we don't, and we travel to these countries, and a lot of these countries, they hear something in their home language and they latch onto it. Next thing you know, you got a big hit in Brazil somewhere, and you got to go down there, and you don't want to, again, hear these songs forever and ever and ever, and you didn't do your best job.
Right. Okay. And are there any tours coming up by Take Six?
We always forever on the road. I'm coming up. I go to Huntsville this weekend. We go to St. Louis and I believe Lone Tree, Colorado, or Lonesome. Well, they'll be in Colorado coming up. Costa Mesa. We'll be all over the place, and go check take6.com. Our socials. We're still out here, folk. We're still doing it. We have a blast. We were just in where were we this weekend? We were in Fairfax, Virginia. Full house.
Right up here.
Yeah.
I'd have known that.
Yeah, we were just there. Had a really great performance, sold out, and did a little bit of Christmas, a little bit of a cappella, a little bit of instrumental stuff, and had a great time. But we'll be back. We love Chocolate City.
Yeah, that's about an hour and a half away from me. So.
Yeah. My daughter's in Richmond, so I'm a fan of Virginia now.
Okay, yeah, Richmond's about an hour and a half from me.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. I have to let my wife know so we can catch.
Please.
Yeah, so that would have been great. I wish I'd have known it, but I think we were out of town anyway, so we wouldn't have been there.
Yeah, and I knew it was Lone. I thought I messed it up, but Lone Tree will be going up there, and Gerald Albright and his world will step into his world, and he always is an amazing host, an incredible musician, and he's got a whole series, and we're finally getting to be a part of it. I think we did it one time before, but it's great, and we're looking forward to it. Right time of year, and some hot chocolate and
waffles
for Christmas. Waffles. Yeah,
gotta get some waffles.
That's right. That's right. We'll get that. I'm not leaving till I get that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we finally got a chance to get this interview in, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to.
Absolutely, Gerald. Thank you, and thank you, Glennis, for hooking us all up, and thanks to everyone out there that's followed us all these years.
Yeah, so I appreciate you. I hope you have a great evening. I know you're out in California. It's about 3-something, 4-something.
Yep. Yep. I'm heading to the airport tonight, actually, to do a commercial, and then then tomorrow night I fly out again.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Always busy. So,
yep.
One last one. Rhonda says she can't wait for the new music.
It's going to be great, Rhonda. It's going to be great.
All right. Well, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Gerald. Take care, brother.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, that is all we have for you tonight. Thank you, Glennis. We appreciate you for connecting us with Alvin. That was wonderful. We appreciate all that you do, and there's still 2024, so that means Glennis is still our person of the year. So thank you, Glennis, for being the person of the year for 2024. You did an amazing job. And the next show, we will also be announcing who the 2025 person of the year is. So can't wait for that announcement to come out. So that is all we have. We appreciate you stopping by and taking time out of your busy schedule to watch our show tonight. And we'll see you next time, which will be December 18th. See you then.